Welcome guys. In this video, we'll be going through a small demo on how you guys can collaborate using Git. And this will be done between Asif and I. So I've created a Git Tinder clone folder over here. And I will now inside this folder, I'll just pick a few classes from my actual Tinder clone. So I mean, I'll take all these. And I'll just delete a few of the classes over here. So I'll just keep the Tinder app and I'll delete everything else. Right, this is just for purposes of demonstration, guys. And I will
keep the profiles because you need profiles, right?
Yeah, you need the CSV. So yeah, so this is basically our Tinder clone, and now I will open it in Visual Studio Code. Right, and my Visual Studio Code is now open, and over here I will open up my terminal. Right, and now my terminal is open, and I mean, before I do this, right, let us actually go on GitHub, right, and I'm going to add Asif as a collaborator to my repository. So let me first create a new repository. Excuse me. So it's basically going to be git demo Tinder Java. Okay. So this is going to be a public repository, right? So any of you guys will be able to see this repository, but you won't be able to push to the repository. You'll only be able to clone it. All right. So in order to allow Asif to have the ability to push to the repository so that I can collaborate with him, I need to add him as a collaborator. And in order to do that, I think we have to go to settings, if I'm not mistaken, and manage access.
Yeah.
And I just need to add my password. And yeah, so now I can actually invite a collaborator over here. So what I'll do is I'll invite Asif. Asif, what is your GitHub username?
Asif Hassan.
Asif Hassan.
There's no 14.
Okay, that's
me.
Right? Cool. So I'm going to add you to my repository now, and you have a pending invitation. So Asif, do you want to maybe share your screen and see what that invitation looks like?
All right, cool. I can. Can both of us share our screen? One person.
Yeah, but like the people who are watching will have to toggle. So let me just stop sharing screen and you can share yours.
All right, cool. So I think, can you guys see my screen? Actually, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So I think it's my emails, huh? It goes to my emails.
Yeah.
Does it? So there you go. You'll get this email that says Akil Bodu invited you to GitHub demo Tinder Java. So I'm going to go click on that. And then this is what the email will look like. So I will say view invitation, right? And then it'll take me to my GitHub page. I'm already logged in. So if you haven't logged in, it'll ask you to log in. And then I will say accept invitation. And that's it. So now it's asking me to.
Yeah. So Asif has access to this. So what I'll do is I'll push what I have locally. So Asif, you can
I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Go for it. And now what we'll do is I will push my repository up, and Asif should be able to access it and pull from his side. All right. So I first need to actually initialize my repository. So actually GitHub has the steps over here. You can actually just use these steps to initialize the repository. But I'll do git init. So that I've initialized the repository. Then I'll do git add dot and then git commit -m added file. Right? Then once I've done that, I will link my remote repository. Right? So remote repository is basically this. This is my local repository, and I'll link it with my origin repository. And my origin repository is the one that is on the cloud over here, right? And I have to use that using this command over here, this git remote add origin. and I'm going to enter that command, and now I'll push the code to my master. And if I push the code to master, it should actually go up. Awesome. So now if I refresh my page, you'll see that all the code is up, like the repository is up, right? And in my repository, I've initialized it only with the Tinder app file, right? So what I'll do now, I mean, before Asif pulls from the repository, is I'll create a new branch, right? So normally it's good practice to always work in a separate branch and think of your master branch as the one that will be for production. So let's look at this in the context of web development. When you're doing web development, whatever you have on your master here is what is going to be visible to users, right? But whatever you have in other branches is going to be like development branches where you're actually going to code. So think of it this way: every time you push to your master branch, right, it will automatically deploy it online. So that's why we will not use to just promote best practices for you guys. We will only work off a separate branch, right? So I'll do git check out dash b. So if I add the dash command, it allows me to create a new branch, and I'll call the new branch dev, right? So I've switched to a new branch dev, and in this dev branch, I will create a new file. And Asif, what should I create? Should I create profile?
Create a person class.
I'll create
Yes.
a person class, right? Person.java.
Mm.
And I'll just make it very simple. I'll do public class person, and that's my class, right? And I'll just initialize the constructor like that. Okay. And that's it for my class over here. And now you'll see that this file has turned green on Visual Studio Code, which means that Git is also tracking what branch we are in. So if you look at my bottom left over here, it says that I'm in the dev branch. And in that, there's an untracked change. U stands for untracked, meaning that a change has been made, but it's not being tracked yet. So what I'll do now is I will track the change and I'll add it to the staging, right? Staging environment. So I'll have to do git add dot. So it's going to add the file for me. And then I'll do git commit dash m, and I'll say added person class. Cool. Now I have this change in my local repository, but if I look up here, I don't have any other branches. So in order to push my branch up, right, I need to do git push origin, and then the name of the branch I want to name when it goes up. So dev. So you've seen that I've pushed to dev over there. Now, if I come and refresh my page over here, you'll see GitHub has also noticed that a change has been made. So firstly, you can see that now we have two branches, and we'll not be working off our master branch. Master branch is basically what you guys need to submit. Anything else you do in the other branches, we will track that as well. We want to see how you guys collaborate, but you guys should work from the dev branch, right? So if you see the dev branch, it's the same thing. It basically has my person class over here, and over here in my GitHub, in my project, if I do check out, if I check out to my master, the checkout command allows me to switch between branches, and the git branch command allows me to see what branches I have in my local repository. So if I do git check out master, I'll switch back to the master branch, and you can see that my person class is not here anymore, right? So now, basically, I will stay on my dev branch, okay? And now I want Asif on his side to also add a file, and let's see how that goes. Right, Asif?
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen now.
Yeah.
Right. So you can see my screen.
Yeah, you can see your screen.
All right, so you can see my Visual Studio Code, right?
Yes.
All right. So first I need to git clone, right?
Yeah.
And then this is the link. So what I say is git clone,
And then the link.
paste that. So you can see it's cloning the folder. So you can see that the repo has come into my VS Code now. I
Yeah.
think someone's trying to get in.
Yeah. Let me just add them.
Right. So you can see that the code has come in my VS Code now. So here is the bin folder with the profile and the swipes and the source. You can see that it cloned the master branch, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, am I supposed to move to the dev branch? Git.
So before that, you need to cd because like you're in the parent directory. So cd inside git dash demo.
Yeah. Right. Sure. There you go. Ls.
Yeah.
I'm in the main directory.
Exactly. Now you can check out. So now what you should do is you can check out dev.
Yeah. Git checkout dev. Right. So you can see that I'm in dev now because I cloned the repo and I moved to dev. You can see the person class is pulled up on my side. And this is exactly, hold on, this is exactly what Akhil has made on his side, right? This is how you guys are going to be working, right? You're going to have a dev branch and all of you will be pushing your code to the dev branch, right? And you'll only push your code to the master branch once everything is working in the dev branch, right? So now let me create like a file, right? I'm going to work on maybe the image class, right? So new file, and I'll say image.java, right? And then I'll say public class image, and then my constructor will be here. Public image. That's my constructor, and maybe I'll have my getters here, my setters. Then my attributes will be instance variables will be here. Right? So this will be my image class. And now what I want to do is I want to push this to a kill, right? So I would say git add. I'm gonna push to a dev branch because let's check where I am right now. So it's git status, right, Akil?
Yeah, with status, correct.
Git status. No, git status tells you what you haven't committed. So this tells you that I haven't committed the image file.
Yeah, but it also
But
gives
how
you info on which branch you are in. So it says you are on branch dev.
branch dev, yes.
Yeah.
So there you are. Someone dev branch, that's fine. So I'll say git add
Everything. So the
git
dots
commit
basically means you're adding everything in that directory.
git commit the message. M stands for the message. So the message I'm sending is added image class, right? And you can see that it has made the changes and the create mode src/image or Java has gone through, right? And obviously I would want to compile the image class on my side, right? So obviously I would have my what I'm going to do is I would say public void public static void main. I'll do my main function here and all that nonsense. I would test my image class. I would create my image. I would create my image over here, image class, my image object, sorry. Right? And then I would see if it's working, right? And then once that's working, I would comment this out and I would tell Akil, yo, look, my image class is working. I tested everything out. I can create an image object and my getters are working, my setters are working. So which means that when you are giving your part of the code to the other team, the rest of your team, you know your part was working. You've done your testing fine on your side. So when an issue comes up, you know it's not your problem, right? So that's why you test everything first and then you send it through to the rest of the team. Right. So you can see I've added my I have I've done my commit. Now it's a git push.
Now you added more code, so you need to also add
Oh,
do
yeah.
get status, do get status.
Let me just say so git status. So again, you see I've added more code. It says modified. I've modified the image to Java file. So I'll say git add
So now
what
after
again?
we can okay, never mind.
Git commit minus m the message added main method. So you leave write good stuff here because this shows up in your repository, right? I know you'll get frustrated, and I've done this before myself. You would start swearing and typing dumb messages here, right? Don't do that because this is what your employers and whoever's checking out your repo will see. So try avoid doing that. Write reasonable messages like what I'm doing right now, right? You say added main method to image class, right? And then you do that. So your commit has gone. Now it's a git push because now I want to push it to the dev branch, right? Am I right, Akil? Git dev branch,
So it's git
git
push
push
origin dev.
origin dev. Cool. So now it's pushing to the dev branch, right? And if I say git checkout to master, you can see that my source folder in master still does not have the person class and the what and the image class, right? But now if I go to my git checkout dev, am I right, Akil? Git checkout dev,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
right? I can see I moved to my dev branch. I can see the image and person class there, right? Akil, do you want to check your side now?
Cool. So let me share my screen now.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Awesome. Cool. So I'm sharing my screen now. And if I refresh this page, I can now see the changes that Asif has made here. So I can see that Asif Hassam has added main method to image class. And I can actually even look at the history of the commits, right? And see like what files have changed and stuff. And I can check into inside each commit and look at exactly what changes have been made, which is great. So now I can see that he's added a main method over here, which is awesome. And what I want to do is I also want the image class to be in my project. Right now, I don't have the image class, and I want to test my app with the image class as well. So what I'll do is I'll do git status. I'm on dev branch, and I'll do git pull origin dev, because now I want to get the latest changes on dev, right? So I'm going to pull it, and you can see that it's successfully pulled, and now I have the image class over here. So now I think the next thing we'll do, right, is we will try to like engineer some sort of merge conflict. So Asif, what we should both do, I guess, is we can just create a getter in the image class, right?
Yeah.
So let's just call it string. So this is on line 10, Asif. So string get image. Let me just make it public. Get image, and we're just going to return some string right now, right? And this is basically the class I've created. So Asif, just instead of saying some string, say something else. So just say return something else on your side.
Okay, so it's line 10, right?
Yeah, line 10 to 12. Awesome. So I've basically made this change, and then you can see Git is telling me you have some uncommitted changes. And what I'll do is now to make the commit. So I know that we have to do git add and then git commit, and like normally that might get a bit tiring, right? So normally once you've created the files and you're just making some changes to an existing file and you're not adding any new files, you can use a nice shortcut. So it's git commit dash am, right? So if you just add the a, it means that you're also adding to the staging environment, and then M for message that you want to commit with, and then I'll say created the get image getter, right? Then I'll basically commit that, and I'll do git push origin dev, because now I have committed everything, and I want Asif to see my get image as well. So if I push now, it should work. And then on Asif's side, so if I refresh this, if I go back to the home and then I check out the dev branch, you can see that the branch has 4 commits ahead of master, and it says that you've created the get image getter, right? So basically now I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Asif, I want you to share your screen and also pull and see what happens, because you have also added that line of code, right? The getter in the image class, correct?
Yeah.
So just open your Visual Studio Code, and you
So
can see
you
that.
guys can see that, yeah, on 10 and line 10 actually, line 10 to 12 you said, right, Akil?
No, just remove that space. Yeah, exactly like that.
You can see in line 10 to 12 also someone's trying to get in.
Okay, I'm adding them.
All
Cool.
right. You can see line 10 to 12. I have my own stuff. So maybe what can happen is there's some confusion between the team, or maybe, there's some lines where there's some part of the code where you wrote different stuff and you want to. So now we have a conflict, right? Because Akhil has something on line 10 to 11, line 10 to 12. I
Yeah,
have something on line 10 to 12, right?
yeah.
And now I want to like we want to.
Yeah, I mean, Asif, sorry to interrupt, but like another example could be like, let's say that Asif has been assigned with creating like, some image recognizing, some function that does some machine learning over here above the getter, right? Maybe that method itself is like 12 lines of code. So obviously it will overlap with other lines of code, and you might experience some conflict. So that's another instance of how like you can experience conflicts. So now basically, yeah, Asif, you can continue.
All right, so now I have git pull, right? First git pull
Yeah.
or
I
git
don't think
pull
you'll
dev or
I don't think you'll be able to pull unless you've saved your changes locally. So do git status. You okay? Cool. Do you mind just saving the file, dude? Save the file, and yeah.
done.
Now just do git commit dash am.
Git commit dash am. I'll see the same thing, right? Added
Yeah,
image getter.
yeah. Cool.
So I've made my commit. So this commit is done locally in my computer, right? And we haven't seen any kind of conflict yet because I haven't tried merging to the dev branch that is online in the cloud,
Exactly.
right?
So
Yeah.
now what you need to do, Asif, is you need to pull from the dev branch.
Git pull dev
Git pull origin dev.
origin.
So origin basically means like you're pulling from the cloud.
All right. So git pull origin dev, and I'll do that.
And
There
then
you go.
we got a conflict. So basically, it says that there's two changes. There's something else, right? So that's the current change, and then there's some string. Some string is what I added, and that is the incoming change. So basically, now Asif, because he's resolving the conflict here, he gets to say like, okay, so should I keep the change? Should I accept the incoming change, or should I accept both changes? What should I do? Right. So basically, I think in this instance, you can just accept the current change. So like whatever you have done, you can just accept that.
Yeah. So basically, I'm over what Akhil has done. I'm literally killing his work. Like I'm overriding literally what he has done, and I'm saying that I'm
Exactly.
going to use my getter, not Akhil's getter, right?
Yeah,
And usually, what would happen is that there will be a DevOps manager who will be doing this kind of stuff
exactly.
in industry.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm going to
normally, just
accept
to
this
explain
guy.
that a bit more, like when we go to web dev, this will make so much more sense. But like normally, you just won't work off the dev branch. Dev branch would be like the one for testing. You guys will create like other branches. Maybe a practice that people have followed, some companies follow is they create their name and then dev branch. So for example, we'll have like there's going to be a master branch, there's going to be a dev branch, then there's going to be a kill dev, and then there's going to be a asif dev. Alternatively, like if they're just building features, like there's going to be like a dev branch, and then under the dev branch there's going to be like you could have notifications branch, or you could have um, you know database branch. So you can have specific branches, and one person who's a DevOps manager is not going to allow anyone to merge to master, to merge to dev. That person is normally going to be the one who's going to merge one branch at a time and check if it's working and no errors. So that's a practice that's done. But like, because we're a small team, what we tend to do is we just say that Asif, I'm about to pull right now. We can just communicate and we can get the work done. Cool. So we've resolved a conflict. So Asif, you can save the file now.
Save. So you guys too accepted the incoming change, right? And
And
now
then
I'm just going to git push,
now
right?
you need to commit again because you've resolved the conflict. So do git status.
Git status. You can see that still a modification has happened to my image file. So I'll just say git commit minus am, and the message will be
Fix
I
the conflict.
added I fixed the get image conflict.
Perfect.
I selected mine. Yeah.
Cool. Then you can push this up. And we'll do one last step before we end off this tutorial.
Git push origin dev.
Awesome. So it's been pushed successfully. Now, see if you can stop sharing the screen. Let me share the screen.
Someone's trying to get in.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. And basically, you can see that the last thing I did was some string, right? So now even I'll experience a merge conflict if I do git status, and then I do git pull origin dev, right? So I'm going to pull from dev. And you'll see, oh, okay, I think it overwrote it. It overwrote it because Asif resolved the conflict on his side. So basically, Git is going to take that as like the newest version that needs to be overwritten on my local repository. So I don't have to resolve any conflicts now, right? Then my next step will be to say, okay, so let's say that we're done with the project, like Asif and I have collaborated, like Asif created the image class, I created the person class, and we are done with our app. The last thing that we should do is we're going to do git check out master, right? I'll move to master, and you can see that I have only the Tinder app over here. So what I need to do is I need to do git merge dev. If I do merge dev, it's going to take all the changes I did in dev and it's going to put it in my master. And I have this in my local repository now. So what I'll do is I'll do git push origin master. And this is going to push all our app changes to master. And this is done like, once we're ready and we're ready to like submit this app. So now Asif will be able to see his code, see the same code on master. So if I come over here and I change this to master, you'll see that all the commits are still stored. And you can see that this also has the latest stuff. So you can see all the commits that are made in the various branches that are merged together. All the commits actually accumulate. So that is basically the end of this Git tutorial. I hope that makes sense. Asif, do you have any additions to make?
Yeah, I just want to say that this is how we're expecting you guys to work, right? It's like we want you to all of you to work on different classes and build your own class, and then commit to a branch, push your work to a branch, right? Um, Hello.
Yeah, Asif. Yeah, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that we want you guys to commit to a branch, and then what's going to happen is that when you submit your final GitHub repository with all the work done, right? We will be able to see the commits for who made the commits and how much code was written by which person, right? So, Akhil, do you want to show them how we can do that?
How we can track the commits?
Yeah.
So it's basically here. You'll be able to see history of all the commits. So if you check the
Right.
history, I can see that Asif has done all this stuff and I have done all this stuff. And then I can actually go in and like, let's say that I want to see exactly what's happening in this image getter. I can click into it and then I can see, okay, so this is what the image getter is doing. And then I can actually just check the other files. I can also see what the person class is doing over here. And then I can see what's happening. So I can see that this is the person class, this is what it looks like, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, like if you guys want to learn more about Git, this Friday in the live webinar, we'll also be doing something on pull requests. So that will also be a good experience for you guys. Like normally industry people use pull requests, but we'll make you guys do it only um, once we move to web development. Cool.
Yeah, but anyways, guys, that was the whole point. Like the reason is that you're going to be collaborating for the first time in Git, so it'll be a bit shaky in the beginning, but you'll get used to it, right? But make sure everybody in your team codes something of the app, right? Because we're going to be checking the commits of who has coded what and how much, right? And try to distribute the work in evenly between all of you guys. So if you're 4 people, 25, 25, 25%. If you're 3 people, 33, 33, 33%. If you're 2 people, 50, 50, right? Try to evenly distribute the work between you guys, and we will be checking the commits of how much each person has coded, right? So make sure you're constantly committing and doing your work, right? Yeah.
So
Any questions?
I'm going to stop the, okay, yeah. Any questions before we can stop? I stop the recording on the Git tutorial.
Please drop them in the chat.
Okay, great. So I'm going to stop the recording now. And we can talk about next steps?